Welcome to episode 3 of the Webcomic Beacon Presents First Issue.
I'm Marcus.
I'm Melissa.
And I'm Fes! You can find out more of First Issue at firstissue.webcomicbeacon.com. This week, we're going to take a look at Animal Man, number 1. Alright, so we have DC Comics New 52, Animal Man. I have never heard of this before, like I've never heard of Men of War or Sergeant Rock. I have heard of Justice League, have not heard of Animal Man. I look at this cover and I'm like, what the fuck is happening here?
That's the intention.
Are these arteries? Is this a bird in the back? I don't really... It's obviously catching. When I first saw this, it looked like a retro cover. It looks like something I would pick up from like the 60s or something like that, with the yellow in the background. And the primary colors, you just see the the blue pants, the red going on, the yellow. It looks kind of like a classic cover.
Yes, it's very iconic. It's just those big flat fields of color definitely pull your eye in.
Certainly, I would agree. I think the level of detail in the art might be almost more like EC Comics.
Yeah.
The horror imprint from years past.
It's sort of like EC meets Mike Mignola. There's a lot of very angular rendering going on there. But
I do have an issue with just sort of like, we're going to throw a bunch of random animals at the bottom because we don't want to draw feet, maybe? And that can be fine, but then there's like the walking squid octopus thing.
I want one.
And all the animals...
They can do that.
And then there's like
octopus.
There's a flying sperm whale, and they're not all... I'm pretty sure a bear's not bigger than a rhino, sort of thing, and that's... And then there's, I guess, a little cat on a turtle about everything in here except the cat. I mean, I don't know, it just seems just kind of... Put that there.
Well, it lets you know it's Animal Man, man. Otherwise, you wouldn't know, because they only have
the title
cover.
wouldn't tell me.
The title wouldn't tell you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there's other definitions of animal when applied to a human being,
Well, true, but it just seemed a little...
You could assume it's porn, and then open it up and be disappointed.
Well... Anyway,
so
when we first open up the page, we come across what I thought was an ad. I was just going to skip over it because it looks like It looks like a news. It looks like something pop out of the newspaper. To its credit, turn the page. It is, but I didn't realize that until I turned the page and I'm kind of reading. It's like, wait a minute. I guess I'm supposed to read this. I thought I was getting a comic, not an assignment. But
the thing is, it's an old tried and true method of conveying a lot of information at once.
We call it info dump.
It kind of is, but it serves a purpose in the story. What that text piece is it's a page out of what looks like Time magazine, interviewing the character that we are being introduced to. So you get... first kind of a stylistic introduction to the story, and also a bit about the character and what's going on, where we're seeing him in the career. So it's a lot of information packed into this text piece, and it's only one page, so it's not too big to suffer.
Well, that's usually how an info dump happens. I mean, at least it's not a big, giant word balloon.
Yeah,
which is a really bad info dump.
Yeah,
this
but it's
I
also,
can give a pass to.
It's also part of the story. You turn the page and it's the did you see that article?
Yeah, right. And it's in most of the panels there. So.
Yeah, and that's the only way that I figured out. Like, I was supposed to read that.
Oh, same here. I definitely thought it was like a rare double ad until I started reading. Like, oh, wait a sec, this is actually part of it, and it's something that I'm kind of used to because I've read, like, for example, Watchmen. Watchmen does this at regular intervals. I didn't expect it here, but then when I kind of read it, it gave me like a nice idea of who this character was without, like I said, without it being too crazy, because it is an interview. It's a give and take conversation. And the way that's presented, I was able to get all the information I needed to get without being too bored. And then I got into the book.
Well, I kind of have a dyslexia, so I was really bored with reading that.
Yeah, that's not going to be
Which is why I like word balloons, because they help separate the dialogue.
I also, just quick note, I love the fact that his son thinks it's 1991 in a trailer park.
Oh,
that hair, my God.
Yeah.
I've been told that that's his hair from the original Animal Man run, which did take place.
He looks a little white trash.
Yeah, but I thought that was kind of adorable, except for the fact that he's not.
Right.
We live in a nice house.
So one thing about the art, the art kind of irks me a little bit. It looks like it's completely traced from photographs.
The thing that bothers me about the art is that it's a very dead line weight. You don't see a lot of variation in the quality of line. It's like somebody traced photographs.
It's really thin. Yeah, really thin line.
Yeah. But that said, it kind of works. I mean, it's a style that they stick to. They've.
But it makes some things look goofy. Like this shot is like, what the hell is
there is a lot of wide dead space in people's faces and things like that. But the thing is, it once you get into the action parts of the story, it starts working.
What I think it is, it's an art style that works best with more panels, smaller panels.
Yes.
When you have, at the beginning, with these gigantic panels, and there's like maybe 4 per page, then you start to notice the limitations of the style. When it's cramped together and it's more horrific imagery, that's where the style really comes to shine. Like here,
the juxtaposition
of these 2 pages compared to the first couple.
Right.
It's not even a comparison. I mean, just the level of detail that's present here just annihilates what you see earlier, even just in the backgrounds. And the backgrounds are not nearly as prominently displayed.
Yeah, it's a lot of flat coloring, or if it's 1-2 color for if there are shadows.
And what I should note here is that the style is unusual, but the primary purpose of comic book art is to tell a story. It's almost not whether you like the style or not, as long as it gets the story across, it has done its job. And the action is clear, it is easy to follow the story visually.
Well, sometimes the art can pull you out of it if you have real trouble.
Well, it's true.
You know, you can have like a visual, it's like, I can't get beyond this art, but that's not with me, and I dealt with it. And I do want to go back to what this kind of the story is for this, which is kind of interesting, is that he's a family man. He has a family. His family knows, which... You know, I remember old comics being like, oh, no, the superhero can't tell anybody their secrets. Nobody ever, even the young kid that never tells their parents and probably should.
Well, then the world knows who he is.
Yeah, well, that's also another thing. But it's like one of the things that said me, oh, they all know it's not some secret.
Yeah.
But it's also not people know who he is anyway. And then, and so that was a little bit interesting as far as... Okay, because I never knew who Animal Man was, so I thought that's a cool setting I've not known before.
Yeah.
And then going back to the art.
Yeah.
And you get the grayscale images in the back with the red. It's like there is a style change here,
and I think that's where it really pops.
Yeah, it starts really working by the end
and getting really freaking creepy and gross for me actually. So and. Mm-hmm.
And being a horror comic, and we should probably clarify this, the comic itself, its genre, despite starring a superhero, is really horror. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing that I really embraced about it. I almost wish it had been called anything but Animal Man and just had a very similar character who did not have a superhero alter ego. Like maybe he was a cop. I think this would work. I mean, like, it works as it is, don't get me wrong. But just, like, from my own personal preferences, the fact that it's DC kind of necessitates that it be superhero-related in some form or fashion. And I almost think that works against it, albeit it's so minor, given the masterful way the story is told, that it doesn't bug me at all. And my God, the...
Spoiler!
I forgot. Anyways, that didn't happen.
We'll
erase that.
Recut that.
We'll recut that and just say, okay, and oh my God, the ending.
Yeah,
Jesus.
The ending
creepy.
is magnificent.
If you have any interest in horror comics, read this. I don't care if you hate superheroes.
Yeah.
You will like this book.
It is
so let's go to the verdict now. Let's say succeed, Matt, or fail.
Succeed.
Big succeed.
I'm going to have to say succeed for a new reader because it gives enough information, and if you're not hooked by the end of this...
You'll never be hooked.
Yeah, you'll never be hooked. I think it does a good job for a #1 issue. I will give... Well, that was Animal Man #1 from the new DC 52. I do that every time.
Hell yeah!